Hello and welcome to the Season 2 finale of Precon Decon, the video series where I deconstruct the pre-constructed decks of Magic the Gathering's history. So Season 2 has been the longest one. I think it's going to be the longest one for a while. A lot of decks we've looked at. It's been quite a marathon for me to get through them all. But we're here. We're at the Season 2 finale. And these are just videos I like to do where I just kind of talk about the progress we've made, what we've got going forward, and where I just do a kind of a top 5 and a bottom 5 of decks that I looked at in this season. So this is how we're going with the progress. So you can see we're Tempest up to Eventide now. That's all crossed off. We've got a couple of the core set editions crossed off. So yeah, we're actually making pretty good progress, coming up to the halfway mark, which is pretty exciting. I think the main bulk of it is behind us. I felt like I built off like a little more than I could chew with this season, just because it was so many decks. I started kind of doing the work on this when I came down with with the C word, with the old virus, which meant I couldn't do any actual like recording. Because my voice was kind of messed up. So what I ended up doing, I did the graphics for kind of every deck. I spent about 3 weeks doing that, and then I realized like, oh no, I have to like now go through and record like 85 decks all in just do that 85 times, and that was really honestly a bit of a slog, and it kind of left me a bit burnt out by the end of it. But so going forward into the next season, I'm going to try and do a set of 5, record those, upload them, and do it that way rather than do all the graphics at once and then do all the recording at once, because need to break it up some way. But yeah, this is progress is feels pretty good to see this much crossed off. Anyway. So part of these videos, like in season 1, I'm going to talk about the bottom 5 and my top 5 from this season. I looked at the decks that I kind of didn't like as much, or that I did like as much. Just to clarify, this is just my opinion. This is just when I was looking at them. Doesn't mean these decks are bad necessarily. It's just kind of how I felt about them. If you like these decks, that's absolutely fine. We're all friends here. these are just my opinions. I'm just going to rag on these ones. Also these are in no order. These are just kind of like no particular order. Like this is just the order that they were reviewed in, because that's just So yeah, I'm not saying that these are the best of the bottom 5 essentially, but just these are in the bottom 5. I don't know what the actual ranking is as such, but so kind of joint combination. Basically, all the green decks from Mirrodin block, because I just felt all of these were like really disappointing. Just because they were all decks that didn't like do what the gimmick of the block is, which is fun artifacts, and part of that is like how green was designed, I suppose. But like, I don't feel like these decks really do a good job of selling Mirrodin as a block. Like Wicked Big is just full of green fatties. It's just very generic. Same with Stampede. It's just red green fatties. It's very generic. And Swarm and Slam is just a pretty bad deck in my opinion. It's just like it tries to do this theme with tokens, but it doesn't really have the cards to support it. So these are all kind of, I couldn't pick one out of these 3. I thought they were all about the same level. They were all a bit disappointing when I looked at them. I didn't really have much to say about them, and what I did have to say was bad. So yeah, these are all crammed onto the same place on the podium essentially. And then we had Dark Devotion from Betrayers of Kamigawa. This was like a really badly put together deck, I think. Just like some really poor choices. Part of that is down to Kamigawa's like power level as general being like pretty low, but yeah, just I really didn't like this one, and like it's a shame because like black red like ogres and demons is like really interesting like tribal like synergies and stuff, like how they play off one another, but yeah, just like I think just a disappointing rare. Like Hidetsugu is alright, but Yukora is like not a great rare. And just a lot of the other cards in here are just kind of expensive and bad. So yeah, really didn't get on with Dark Devotion. And another Kamigawa deck, Sorotamis Wisdom. This might be the worst one, I think. If I was to rank them and say what was the absolute bottom of the bottom 5, I would put this one down the bottom, just because Saviors of Kamigawa is like not a great set in my opinion, and this white blue one I think really embodied all the worst bits of Saviors of Kamigawa, like the weird like wisdom mechanic, and it's just kind of slow and stalling. It doesn't really feel like it has a way to win. It's just a lot of very dirtily, bad effects that care about like how many cards you got in your hand, but then there's not really too much card draw in it, which just means you avoid casting your spells, which just means to just make some of your cards like slightly better. Not a great deck. I would say this was actually the worst one I looked at. I really didn't like it at all. Part of that is maybe because it's white blue, which is my least favorite color combination. But I just think it was really badly put together. This one I actually owned and tried playing out of the box, and I just had a miserable time with it. So unfortunately, another white-blue deck from Dissension. Azorious Ascendant, I also really didn't like this one. Again, it's all the same problem as the Saviors one, in that it does a lot of kind of durdling around. It doesn't really, I think, like the card selection is not great. It's kind of just, I don't know. I feel like you wouldn't win with this, but like it would take you a while to lose, and just everyone would have a miserable time playing against it. It should be doubling. It should be like blue white skies, right? Which is like the easiest thing to do with blue white, but it's not. It tries to like this weird. It commits like a lot of deck space to this weird like excuse me, to this weird like defender theme, and like making defenders able to attack with Wakestone Gargoyle, but you've only got like one copy of Wakestone Gargoyle, so you've kind of just got a lot of defender creatures, and even then the defender creatures are not typically ones you want attacking because like they have really low power, and it just has like some kind of like some bad soft control options. Not great. Didn't really care for this one at all. And then the last one, Shamanism. So this, I think, is not this is probably like the best of the worst, maybe. But it's on my list because like it annoys me so much of like how badly it missed the mark. I have no idea why it was made. Well, firstly, it does one thing that really annoys me, in that it's a triple color deck, or like it sells itself as a triple color deck, and like one of the three colors is barely represented. Like it's meant to be white, black, green, and it has two white cards in it. Like, what is the point? Just make it like black, green. And yeah, the other thing that annoys me is that it missed the mark so much, because like this could have easily been really, really good by being black, green, red instead, because red had so many like shaman cards in there, and cards that like interacted with the clash mechanic, which is this deck is trying to have as a sub theme, but it has like 4 cards that do it. And I just think building a deck around clash would have been quite fun, and red had a lot of tools to do that. So this one annoys me for like the absolute missed potential, and that's why it's on my bottom 5. But obviously there were decks I did like, so I'm going to have a lot more fun talking about those. So the first one was Sunburst from Fifth Dawn. I really, really liked this one. The fact that it's essentially monocolor 5-color is really, really interesting. I really like the Sunburst mechanic, and it did something fun and interesting, which was like as essentially all the cards in there are green or artifacts. I know it has all 5 of the colors linked at the top there, but like I say, the only cards in there are green or or colorless, because you have your basic land as well. And I just think Sunburst was like a really fun idea and mechanic, and I think it was just it's a nice. So this is actually a green deck from Mirrodin Block, which I really, really liked, and I just think it did a lot right. It was a shame actually. There was like so many good Sunburst cards they actually couldn't all fit in the deck. But yeah, I think it was a really, really solid showing. I really liked it. Next one is Kami Reborn from Champions of Kamigawa. So this one is like purely a nostalgia pick, just because I really, really liked this deck back in the day. Had a lot of fun playing it. That's it. The deck itself, I think, is actually all right. Out of all the Kamigawa decks, I think it's one of the better ones. In terms of like actual like card selection, but it is on this list purely for nostalgia, because I really, really liked this deck. Had like some really fun games, like playing like a modified version of it that had like full playsets of Thief of Hope and all the Zuberas and Devouring Greed. Yeah, super, super fun deck. So yeah, gets the nostalgia vote. And then Snowscape from Cold Snap. So not this is kind of hard to say. So not necessarily the deck itself, but more the fact this was like a really good springboard for me to build like a deck I used a lot and really enjoyed, which was Blue Black Snow. So I do think the rares in here are pretty good, like Haidar and the Rime Feather Owl are both okay. like I said in the video, I would have really liked this to be blue, black, red, because red had a lot of good snow cards as well. But I really liked blue, black, snow as an archetype, like all the cards that interact with snow and that care about how many snow permanents you have. Yeah, I really liked this one. I say not necessarily the deck itself, because because some of the cards in there aren't great, but I say more that it provided a really good foundation for refining into something else. But yeah, I think the deck on its own as well is okay. But I say it's more a nostalgia thing for me, I suppose. Same with this one, actually. Reality Fracture. There's going to be a lot of nostalgia picks here. So this is from Time Spiral. It's the red blue one, and used a lot of suspend cards, and I really like suspend. Again, this was a deck that was a really good springboard for me to build a blue-red deck which cared a lot about suspend, which had stuff like Reality Strobe and Arc Blade and Rift Elemental, all that kind of stuff. That would suspend a bunch of cards, and you'd have like one big turn where they'd all go off. I think suspend is just a really fun mechanic. So yeah, this was probably my favorite all Time Spiral. Although Time Spiral as a whole, really good decks in Time Spiral block in general. I don't think there was one that was I would consider really bad. At worst, they were kind of average. Yeah, I thought this was. I think it's perfect. I think in Time Spiral, what the Future Shock one is maybe like, I wouldn't even say the weakest. It's not bad. It's just it's just kind of average. But yeah, on a whole, Time Spiral really good set for really good set or block even for pre-constructed decks. And then this is kind of like the joint pick again, because I generally can't decide between them. So from Lorwyn, Elvish Predation and Merrow Riverways. So Merrow Riverways is weird because it's white-blue, and yeah, it's my least favorite color combination, and yet here it is. Both of these decks are really good. Lorwyn had some really great cards. I really liked the green-black elves. Just make a million tokens, have build a really strong board full of elf warrior tokens, and have a bunch of tribal effects go off and kind of overwhelm the game that way. And Merrow Riverways ticked all my combo boxes, because it has all these interactions with tapping and untapping your stuff, and you got all these benefits. It has a card that lets you get an extra turn as one of the rares, which is really good. So I generally couldn't pick between these two. I keep flip flopping on which of them I like the most. So we'll just say it's a joint option. Combine the two for a 4-color elvish merfolk mess, I suppose. So what's going forward in season 3? So it's going to be a lot shorter because I don't want to do 85 videos in one go again. So we're going to do Alara block, we're going to do Zendikar block, and we're going to do Scars of Mirrodin block, and M10 and M11. And the reason why I'm choosing this kind of section of Magic's history, like these sets in particular. First, it's like a 3-year period, which I think is quite manageable. And secondly, starting with Shards of Alara, this is kind of I don't want to say the bad times of precons, but Alara block and Zendikar block and M10 as well. All the precons going forward then they were repackaged and rebranded into 40-card theme decks, so the decks are a lot smaller. So I'm actually going to probably get through this a lot quicker just because there's going to be less cards to look at. It goes back up in Scars of Mirrodin, but Scars of Mirrodin is not a block I like that much, honestly, because just basically I don't like Infect. if it didn't have cards with Infect and Poison, I would like Scars a lot more. But so this is so season 3 is kind of the bitter pill to swallow, essentially. But after that, season 4 is one of my favorite periods of Magic, and that's going to be Innistrad up to Theros. That's one of my absolute favorite periods of Magic, in terms of sets. So I'll have a lot to say about that. Season 3 is still going to be fun. I'm still going to like talking about Alara and Zendikar because I think those are really fun blocks. It's just a shame that the decks are only going to be 40 cards, so the videos will probably be a bit shorter. But I'm planning to having a kind of an introductory video in season 3 just to kind of explain how the decks changed a little bit. So I think I'm going to be back in March. So I'm recording this mid-December. I'm probably going to take a few weeks off, have Christmas and the New Year's, and probably first week of January, and then start building up a backlog again, ready to upload. Probably start uploading I don't know, like mid-January. So probably by the time you start watching season 3 in March, I'll have probably like recorded everything for season 3. I'll probably get started on season 4 then. But yeah, I do like building up the backlog. I do like, really do like making these videos because I just like talking about magic, and I'm really happy that like more and more people are kind of like discovering the channel and like watching these videos. I've had, yeah, I'm only a small channel, I accept that, but it really makes me grateful to get new subscribers who watch these videos and who comment on videos. I really, really, really appreciate that. It gives me so much motivation to keep doing this weird project. So yeah, so if you are watching this, thank you so much for watching these videos and watching my weird rambling videos, unscripted, just blurring out my brain onto video where I talk about old Magic the Gathering decks. Yeah, so this is probably going to come out late February, this particular video. So there'll probably be a couple of weeks between this and the start of season 3. So I'll probably do like some filler videos between then. I haven't decided what yet. But yeah, so I will be back in March. And thank you so much for watching season 2 of Precon Decon, and I hope you come back and enjoy season 3. So until then, thank you for watching and listening. Have an amazing day.